man, this has been a long time coming. I didn't realize how complicated it was, setting up all the lights and the backdrop and just having everything perfectly coordinated to look like a whole vibe. Like, this is work. I always hear a lot of people talking about how they want to start their YouTube channel but never getting around to it, because this is like a full-time job. Some people literally need to go work their 9 to 5 just to fuel their dream in this YouTube content creation thing. What I wanted to really talk about for my first YouTube video is how I actually got my first paid client, and it's kind of a unique story. It didn't start off as just a one-time gig, and I'm glad it didn't happen like that, because it wouldn't have shown me the possibilities in this content created game. So what happened was, I knew a videographer at the time, that he was so busy he couldn't really handle this one, so he decided to pass it off to me, because he knew I was wanting to get into the game and I needed some experience, and he was a little bit more difficult to work with, so he felt like it would probably be a good fit for both of us. He didn't want to spend too much money, and I wasn't expecting too much money because I was first starting out, and it wasn't the best situation at the time for what I was providing. I would basically work with him Monday through Thursday, almost like a full-time job. I'd link up with him maybe like 8 a.m. in the morning, wouldn't be done till 5. But one of the biggest things I'm grateful for in that situation is day in and day out, it allowed me to hone in on my craft and perfect my craft, and getting paid for it. It may not have been what I was worth at the time, but that's okay. Sometimes exposure is the best payment. A lot of these content creators talk about like, oh, I'm not gonna move a muscle unless I'm getting paid $500 minimum. And there are instances for that, but if you have no skill and you're just starting out, I think exposure and the experience is the best payment. Nothing else can compare. No book, no YouTube video can teach you what experience can teach you. So I'm very grateful that I got the experience I did, as early as I did. So I would be on retainer with him Monday through Thursday or Friday or whatever, basically like a 9 to 5 type situation. And some of the biggest things that it taught me was how to close a deal, the value of my services, how to promote myself properly. But I think the most important thing that it taught me was consistency, and that's the most important thing all across the board in life, whether it's the gym, whether it's your eating, relationships, content creation, marketing. Consistency is always key. One of the biggest mistakes I made as well was also consistency. In the beginning, I wasn't consistent with my marketing, which is ironic because what I do is marketing, but I wouldn't do it for myself. I didn't think I needed it. So I had a few retainers, in the beginning, but then eventually one fell off and then another one fell off. And I was kind of confused. Like, what happened? What did I do wrong? Are people just not into my services anymore? And I would doubt myself. After a while, I realized like marketing is basically like the bloodline, is the heart of your business. If you're not on top of your marketing, your business is going to die. And it took me a while to realize that. Once I finally did, things definitely started getting better. And also when I was first starting out at that time, I felt like I always had to be consistently progressing. And if I wasn't, I felt like I was taking a step backwards. Like, if you told me to get a 9 to 5, just to fuel my dream, I would have looked at you like you were crazy, because I felt like I was taking a step backwards. But what I didn't understand at the time was that I'm not starting over fresh, I'm starting over with experience. And that's what a lot of people tend to overlook, because they feel like if they're not always consistently progressing, then they feel like they're stepping backwards, which is so far from the truth. And I wish I understood that a little bit more at the time. But now that I do, if you told me if I lost all my retainers today and I didn't have no jobs for the next 3 months and I had to go get a 9 to 5, I would happily do so, because I now understand my value. I know what I can provide, and I know it's just a matter of timing, as long as I'm disciplined and I do what I know I'm supposed to do, regardless of how I'm feeling. Another thing that working with my client I had at the time for so long was not only be consistent with your work, but be consistent with yourself. Mental health definitely plays a big part in doing this content creation thing, because it's a solo journey. Like, you don't have a team of editors. I don't have a team of editors. I don't have a team of shooters that I can rely on them to get these things done. I have to be 100% in. I have to be 100% locked in mentally, physically. So that's why I take my health and fitness so serious. If you're not right up here, then it's definitely going to show in your work. But once I started prioritizing myself the same way I started prioritizing my business, everything kind of just turned into a snowball effect, and everything started working out, just I was a lot more consistent on the deliverables. Before I would sit back on a video and I'd maybe get like 1 or 2 done a month, and then by the time you get them the video, they're already over it, or they may have forgot about it. They might not even post it, and they're damn sure not going to refer their friends to you because they probably didn't have a good experience. But once I tightened up my turnaround times and I was a lot more consistent with my marketing, that's when I found my success. And that's when I was able to see that this is a possible thing that I can do full time. But if I can give anybody some advice about, getting your first client or how to go about getting your first client, honestly, don't even worry about the payment. Just get that exposure. You will get paid. Your skills are valuable. Just put yourself out there. Start talking to people. Start networking. Let them know. Even if it's not for the rates that you want, like I said, just that exposure and that experience is priceless. No school, no YouTube university, no TikTok tutorial is going to teach you what experience can teach you day in and day out.